Hello students, till now in the animal kingdom we have learned about all the animals which fall under non-chordates. Today we will start to learn about the phylum Chordata. Now as I told you, the animals which are under the phylum Chordata will have a notochord present in their body, which is a stiff rod-like structure. Now this notochord will be present in the body of an animal which belongs to the phylum Chordata in any of the stage of its life cycle. This phylum is subdivided into two subphylums, namely Protochorda, Chordata and Vertebrata. Let's see the diagnostic feature of the phylum Chordata. As I told you earlier, these animals are characterized by the presence of a notochord. Notochord, the rod-like structure. Now this rod-like structure will be present in the body either throughout the life or in any developmental stage of their life cycle. The notochord emerged from the mesoderm. Remember, mesoderm is the middle germ layer. So this notochord emerged from the mesoderm. In the case of vertebrates, this notochord is replaced by vertebral column. So that's the difference between Protochordata and Vertebrata. What is the difference? Notochord will be present in both, but in the case of vertebrates, it will be replaced by a vertebral column in the later stages of their life cycle. What is the second diagnostic feature of chordata? They will have a dorsal hollow nerve cord. This nerve cord is from the ectoderm, that is the outermost germ layer. And later on this nerve cord will, the front portion will make the brain and the back portion will develop into the spinal cord. So the nerve cord is responsible for the formation of nervous system. The third important feature is the presence of pharyngeal gill slits. So these three features should be there in an animal if it is under the kingdom under the phylum Chordata. What are these? Notochord, nerve cord and pharyngeal gill slits. At times, a fourth feature, which is opposed anal tail, is also present in animals of this phylum. Look at the example and observe the presence of notochord, which is emerging from the mesoderm. The dorsal hollow nerve cord, which runs throughout the body, as you can see, emerging from the ectoderm. At the back, you can see the post-anal tail, and then you can also observe the pharyngeal gill slits here. So now let's observe the characteristic feature of the subphylum Protochordata. Remember, Protochordata is a subphylum of the phylum Chordata. And chordata means that animals will have a notochord present in their body. So the characteristic feature is that at certain stage of their life, their body will develop the notochord, which is a long rod-like structure for providing them support. So this should be their primary feature. Now what other features do they have? They are generally found in marine water. So they will be abundantly seen under the salty water condition, not under freshwater condition. As already told about the non-chordates, that they have bilateral, radial or asymmetric body type, but unlike them, the Protochordata will have only bilateral symmetry. So their body can be divided into two equal parts in only one plane. They are triploblastic. Triploblastic means, remember, they will have all the three germ layers: ectoderm, mesoderm and endoderm, and they are coelomated. If you remember, coelomated means they have a true body cavity, and also they have organ system level of organization. Okay, common examples as drawn here, as shown in the diagram, you can see Amphioxus, Balanoglossus are two examples. You have few more in your book, you can remember them as well. Now let us look into the second subphylum of the phylum Chordata, which is Vertebrata. So as it's also a chordate, it will also have a notochord. But what's the characteristic feature which differentiate it from the Protochordata? The feature is that the notochord will later on be replaced by a vertebral column. So that's why the name is Vertebrata. And like Protochordata, they are also triploblastic. They also have bilateral symmetry. The body has a true body cavity, and they will have a well differentiated organ system. The subphylum Vertebrata is divided into 5 classes: amphibian, bird or aves, also we call them, fish or pisces, mammals, and reptilia. So we will learn about them in detail. So let's learn the basic characteristics of the class Pisces. We all know Pisces have all the fishes in this class. Okay, and we know fishes are exclusively aquatic in nature. Their body is streamlined, which helps them to swim. Okay, streamlined body means it will be narrow at both ends, and this type of structure helps them to cut through the water and swim properly. And how do they swim? They swim with the help of fins. Now fishes are cold-blooded animals, okay, and their bodies are covered with scales. You might have learned in your previous classes also that breathing in fishes takes place with the help of a specialized structure called gills, and these fish lay eggs. Okay, if you go into the anatomy, then please you can remember their heart is only two chambered, so they will have only two chambered heart. Examples are many, ranging from sharks to rohu, tuna. Okay, and here you can see lionfish, stingray, doctor fish, so many types of fishes are there. Now let's look into the class Amphibia. Amphibians live both in water as well as land. Remember, the first class we studied were fishes or pisces. They live only exclusively in water. The moment they comes out in land, they will die. But this amphibians, their peculiar feature is that they can live in water as well as on land. Okay, their body is covered with slimy and slippery skins. The skin is slimy because of the presence of mucus gland on their skin, and the respiration is either through gills or through lungs. If we talk about their hearts, their heart is three chambered. Remember, the heart of fishes were two chambered, and their amphibians heart is three chambered. Like fishes, amphibians are also cold blooded animals. They also reproduce by laying eggs. Okay, they lay their eggs in water. Common examples are frogs, toads, salamander. Okay, now let's talk about the class Reptilia. So this class animals, they have they are also cold-blooded and have scales over their body, and they breathe through lungs. Remember, animals which were there in Pisces, they breathe through gills. Amphibians can breathe both through gills as well as lungs, but reptilia exclusively breathe through lungs. Fishes, if you remember, have two-chambered hearts. Amphibian, three-chambered heart. Reptilians will have mostly three-chambered hearts, but some, like crocodiles, will have four-chambered hearts. Okay, we learned that fishes lay eggs in water. Amphibians, they can live in both land and water, but egg laying happens only in water. While in case of reptilia, they also lay egg, but not in water. Okay, they lay their eggs in land. Okay, common examples are snakes, turtles, lizards, and crocodile. Now let's learn about the class aves. All the birds falls under the class aves. Okay, we learned about fishes, amphibians, and reptilia, and I told you that all these three are cold-blooded animals. But the animals which fall under the class aves are all warm-blooded animals. I also told you that fishes have a two-chambered heart, amphibians have a three-chambered heart, reptilia mostly have three-chambered heart with an exception of few like crocodile who have four-chambered heart. But all the aves will have definitely a four-chambered heart. They have two limbs for walking, but two limbs are modified for flying. They are, so that means they can fly. Also, aves exclusively breathe through lungs, and we all know that they lay eggs. Now let's learn about our last class, Mammalia. Mammals are warm-blooded animals, and they have four-chambered heart. The name mammalia has come because of the presence of mammary glands in their body, and these mammary glands are used for the production of milk, which is used to nourish their young ones. How is their skin? Their skin has hairs as well as sweat or oil glands. Okay, mostly they produce young ones, but there are few exceptions. For example, platypus, which lay eggs, and kangaroo give birth to very poorly developed young ones. Okay, we know the examples of mammals, as you can see here in the slides. Okay, the deer, cow, lion, elephant, they all are mammals.